Welcome, everyone, to the Quarter Twins podcast. The Quarter Twins podcast is the only podcast with one question. Do you hate the Star Wars canon? Do you love the Star Wars canon? Do you love Anakin Skywalker and all of the prophecy that holds him so dear as the one deity, God, force being that he is? If you said yes or no to any of those questions, welcome to the Rage Bait episode of Star Wars The Acolyte.
If so, you may be liable for compensation.
Dude, you probably have mesothelioma, let's be honest. All right, you guys, welcome to the Quarter Twins podcast. I am Joshua, and that is Jordan, fresh out the shower. Ready,
yeah, guys.
Ready,
I'm so
full of
clean.
energy. We are here today to talk about Star Wars, a topic we have never broached before. And we'll never...
We never would.
And we never would, and we never will again.
So, I did something before this. Immediately before this, I listened to the episode where we talked about the show Ahsoka, and the episode where you had your mental breakdown, and after I had my mental breakdown with Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that is one of my favorite moments in the show that we do. Is when we
have mental breakdowns.
We're talking about it, and we talk about how we were like so hype on Ahsoka. Like Ahsoka's the best. Like Star Wars is back, baby.
Yes.
And then the last episode airs, and we show up and we're like, and then you, the letterbox exchange we had, where you were like, I'm giving it 5 stars no matter what. And then you watched the last episode, and you were like, this is trash.
I hated it. That was so disappointing.
And so. That is the preface to what we're going to be talking about today, the Acolyte.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm mixed positive on the Acolyte.
I would say
at
I'm
this moment in
positive
time,
mixed.
Because we are 1 week away from, or a few days, less than a week away from the season finale. So we have not seen the finale yet.
Yes.
And that can either mean, and what I think I'm coming to realize, Joshua, and listeners, viewers.
Realize me.
Is that when we're watching these shows, it doesn't really matter how good or bad the rest of the show is. If the last episode is good or bad, we'll probably determine how we feel about the show.
Interesting.
Because in Ahsoka, there was so much stupid stuff that I could forgive while there were more episodes coming out. Because I'm like, there's more, they might wrap up well, whatever. So there's so much of the Acolyte that I really enjoy. Mm-hmm. But if they don't stick the landing, I am ready to destroy the show.
Oh no!
There's some stuff.
He's got a lot of ammo in the bag.
But you've noticed, listener, that we have not released very many episodes in the past months, right?
I think we missed the entirety of the month of June.
Yeah,
it's the longest we've gone without
very
uploading
successful
since we started.
Episode.
Oh yeah, thank you guys for loving our content so much more than usual.
We recorded an episode where we did a whole thing where we thanked you for watching our last video and all that, and we talked about some of the Acolyte. And then Joshua accidentally lost his audio.
Yeah. Let's go with Lost. Let's go with Lost and instead of what really happened, which was of course never recording it in the first place.
Yeah. What I was saying was, we haven't recorded, so I know generally how you feel about the Acolyte, because we text a little bit about it every week. But I'm curious to hear your thoughts where we're at this point, 1 episode away from the finale.
Yeah, well, first things first, everybody. We're in the High Republic era. This is the first time this is the furthest back we've gone since 1999, right?
Whoa.
So we are before the Skywalkers at all. They're not even, the Chosen One isn't even a thing, right?
Yeah, they don't know about that.
They don't know about that. So the whole universe is kind of new to us. I mean, it's all the same stuff, but this is like
Coruscant and all that, yeah.
Yeah. But the Jedi wear yellow now. Yeah. That's fun. They have cool yellow lightsabers and purple lightsaber whips, which is fun.
Super cool.
And it's the Sith have been extinct for a millennia. Ki-Adi-Mundi knows this himself.
He does. You may or may not show up.
For me, my biggest positive for this series in general is exploring a new part of the Star Wars canon.
Yeah.
And along with that comes a multiple new perspectives of the Force. My favorite Star Wars moments are on Dagobah with Yoda explaining the Force and then lifting the X-Wing. That is peak Star Wars in its entirety. So in The Acolyte, we get some Coven of Witches teaching us about the threads of the galaxy, the threads of the universe, blah, blah, blah. Talking about the Vergence, and we got Chimere? Is that his name?
Yeah.
We're going to go with? Who's not a Sith, but kind of is a Sith. Maybe he's the first Ren, is the thing where a leading theory we're talking about.
Kylo Ren's theme kind of plays every now and then.
Yeah. And we're getting Cordosis in canon now, which is fun. Cortosis. What is Cordosis? That sounds like a medical issue.
You may be liable for conversation.
Yeah.
Mesotheliosis.
That's the one. Ooh, mesotheliocordosis. But yeah, just learning all this new interesting stuff and things about the Star Wars canon is my favorite part of any Star Wars property, and this show, being an entirely different era, leans heavily into explaining all this new stuff. Now, you may have noticed in my praise for this show, I have not talked about the plot or any of the characters whatsoever. So that is where that's where the cracks start to open up, shall we say? Yeah. Yes. I like Soul.
Mm-hmm. He's very good,
and that would probably be that for the characters I think I like.
Character.
I like Torben.
Character that I can name. Torben's cool.
I like Torben and I like Soul.
Jekki, for a bit.
Jekki, we like Jekki. Honestly, I like most of the Jedi except for Chewbacca,
Kelnaka. Cool name.
Is Kelnaka the planet or the
cool
Wookiee?
That's his name.
Brendok. Is that the planet?
Brendok is the name of the
They go
planet.
to Brenda a lot in this show.
Yeah. Last time when we recorded the episode that didn't come out, we talked about The Acolyte, and I was really happy with the conversation we had.
I know I'm pissed.
Because we addressed the Star Wars fans derogatory that have been aflame in the fan base,
led by one particular YouTube channel in general.
Yeah. What is this channel called? Star Wars Theory? Is that him?
That's the one. The guy who says there are no bricks in Star Wars, if you recall.
Okay.
Bricks and nail and mortar isn't in Star Wars.
So the plot, if I can, I'll give a plot synopsis so far. Here's where we're at. So, High Republic era, we meet Yord and Jekki show up. Nope. What happens first? Oh, the first show. Let me just run it back. So the Acolyte happens, right? Trinity from the Matrix is there. Carrie-Anne Moss. She's in this bar, and this girl comes in, and she's like, "I'm gonna kill you.
Challenge me."
Spoilers for the Acolyte, right? This girl kills Carrie-Anne Moss immediately after a cool fight scene, and this girl is named May, played by Amandla Stark.
AKA Rue from the Hunger Games. Bam.
Yes. Cool actress. She's pretty good in the show.
Agreed.
I like her performance in general. So, a Jedi has been murdered, and an investigation is started. We have a bit of a murder mystery. I do declare there has been a murder on Brendok.
Nice.
Not yet. So Yord and Jekki show up because they have received a tip that this person did this thing, and they show up. We meet this character named Osha, who looks exactly the same as May, who just murdered a Jedi. And she says, "I have a twin." And then it's like, oh, So you didn't do it, your twin did. Mystery resolved, first episode. Not really a problem for me, just annoying, just like, it's just whatever, okay?
Yeah. If I ever murder somebody, I can blame it on Jordan. And they'll just assume I was innocent.
Yeah, I have a twin. Like, really? Yes, 25%.
Just one, yeah, 25% the same.
The investigation, and then they're like, we find out Osha was once a Jedi Padawan to this Master Soul, and they go to this planet to try to find May, and this guy is there. May is working with this kind of funny guy, and he's helping her. We find out he's helping her murder a bunch of Jedi, 4 Jedi, Carrie-Ann Moss, Master Indara, you got Torben, you got Kelnaka, and you got Master Soul. 4 of them.
You counted Indara twice by naming her as an actress and as a character.
My bad.
Confused me.
We find out she's trying to murder all of them for reasons. And she confronts Master Torben, who is levitating and not speaking. She gives him a poison that he chooses to drink, and he kills himself. That's the end of the second episode.
Just
third episode.
Sorry. Mind. It's fine. It's a spoiler.
All right.
For a show you're never going to watch.
Okay. The third episode is a flashback episode, and this is where things get really interesting, and where Star Wars Theory had a very public meltdown.
A conniption fit, if you will.
A conniption fit. We get a flashback episode where we see May and Osha as children on this planet of, I don't know. I don't think it's even said, maybe.
Maybe not.
A witch planet. We meet this coven of witches. They're talking, like you said earlier, they're talking about the Force, but they're saying the thread. Osha and May they're twins, obviously. They have this connection. We find out that they have been conceived by the Force. Their mother, I don't know her name, but their mother and
Talzin.
This Sabrak witch, right? She says the Sabrak witch says, what did she say? She created them, and then the mom says, I carried them or gave birth to them or
it's
whatever.
the other way around, yeah. The Zabrak
something like
carried
that.
them, right?
Oh, yeah, she gave birth, and then the mother created them.
Yeah.
So it's the problem that Star Wars fans derogatory have, right?
Yes. Tell me.
Is that if, in fact, these twins have been conceived by the Force, that means that Anakin is not special, and that everything that came before, everything happens in the prequels doesn't make any sense. Nothing matters, because if that happened, the prophecy's not even true, Joshua. The prophecy, it doesn't even mean anything. It's like it wasn't even true all along.
What? No.
It's crazy.
The prophecy that may have been misread.
Oh no.
Perhaps.
That is
misread
a
it was.
tragic slip-up you made just then.
Mismed. Anyway.
We talked about how a lot of the problems that people have with Star Wars can be solved by them simply watching Star Wars and paying attention to what actually happens in Star Wars.
Indeed.
Because most of your problems are addressed by the characters and the movies and shows that you watch. You just don't care enough to listen. And so a lot can be said in that vein with The Last Jedi. Most problems you have with The Last Jedi, you guys, if you just watch the movie, it's fine. It's actually good. If you don't
it's actually
mind me saying so.
Amazing.
It's actually maybe it's the best one.
Maybe.
So the end of that episode, the witches are doing this ceremony to kind of to turn the twins into their rightful witch selves, give them the full power of witches. They call it the Ascension. This group of Jedi show up and they're like, "You're experimenting on children. We're the Jedi. We're important. We have the right to test younglings." So they're like, "We're gonna do this." Things happen. They were like, some of the witches, the Sabrak witch gets really mad, and then May starts a fire that explodes the entire place.
And literally
Everyone
kills
dies.
all the witches.
It kills every single one of them. And Soul is able to save Osha, but May is lost to a pit. And then the rest is history. Soul takes Osha with him. She's his Padawan for a while, and then we don't really know what happens after that yet. That's the end of that flashback episode.
Yeah.
We pick back
the
up.
entire episode is a flashback.
Yeah. They pick back up. You can talk for a bit.
Okay.
What happens on Brendok? Why are they going to
Brendok? So Brendok is host to the Crunchwrap. No, the third of the 4 Jedis May has been told to kill by her master, a mysterious, helmeted, masked, potential Sith Lord, so to speak. We have seen him carrying a red lightsaber at this point. And the intention of the test / vengeance quest of killing these 4 Jedi is that May is to kill one of them without a weapon, because Jedi will not attack somebody who is unarmed, even though these fists are a weapon of their own. So she goes to Brendok into the deep, dark, forbidden forest.
With her friend.
With her friend, who's definitely not her master Sith Lord guy.
Definitely not. He makes it very clear that he's definitely not.
Right. And they go into the forest to kill Kalnaka, who is a Wookiee Jedi
With
goat.
shaved sides of his head.
Yeah, he's got the side cut. It's
very strange.
Yeah.
But it's kind of cool.
I was kind of really hoping for him to speak English, or common, whatever. But apparently Wookiees are universally only ever allowed to speak Shri-Wook versus all other races that can speak a bunch of different languages.
It would have been awesome if you just started talking like,
"Hey guys, I love the
you guys
Jedi.
want to go back to the ship?"
Yeah, right? Wouldn't that be fun? Why not? But he just has to go. Because they just want that. It's the Chewbacca bait, if you will. Yeah. Anyway, May and Osha, by the way, when they shortly after Torben's untimely death, met up in the planet that they were on, and Osha attempted to stun May. But they saw each other, they know each other are alive, and it actually genuinely proves Osha's innocence. So anyway, they follow... they go back to Coruscant first, the Jedi, and they gather a team.
Yes.
Including a tracker, little beaver guy.
A very large team of Jedi, yeah.
Yes. It's like, we got Yord, we got Jenki? I can never remember. Jeki, Soul, Osha, that's a half point. And then like 3 or 4 red shirts.
Exactly.
And they go to the forest
They'll
to
be
follow,
fine,
because they know that that's her next target, because Soul is one of the targets and he's not being killed right now. So they're going to Brendok to follow her. They get there. They go through the forest. They fight some bugs. It's fun. Then they catch up with her at the scene of the crime. Okay, she gets there in time. She decides suddenly that now that May is alive, she can meet up with May and not be evil in whatever form that takes. So she outwits her little friend who makes poison potions, and goes off to find the Jedi people, right? Kalnaka.
Oh yeah, those guys.
And she gets to the hut where the Wookiee is, already dead. Lightsaber cut through the chest. He's deaders. Then she picks up the lightsaber, i.e. a obvious murder weapon, potentially, with the lightsaber wound in his chest, and that's the exact moment that all the Jedi show up. Great. Now she looks like she's going to be the murderer. Except... They haven't seen her yet. Yes. They all get there and they're like, Osha! Osha, open the door, Osha!
Come out with your hands up. We have it surrounded.
Yeah. Lightsaber.
We have a warrant for your arrest.
That's right. under the
Kilnaka, if you're in there.
Yeah, you alive?
You're alive. You're all right.
And so then all of a sudden, falling from the dark moonlit sky, floating into frame, is the hooded, masked figure of Osha's master that we saw sword fighting on the beach, Ray style, earlier in the series. Except he didn't cut any rocks because he's better than Ray.
Is it Octo? Are we saying it's Octo Island?
I believe the writer decidedly said it was not, but in fact specifically designed to remind people of Octo.
Yeah.
So, but
like,
not
why wouldn't it be? It doesn't matter. It is.
Just because it's a different island
might as well
where
be.
Cortosis is, I guess, is the idea. Is they mine Cortosis there. Anyway, he does a force push, and then like the episode ends, I think.
Yeah, the episode is over.
And then we go to episode 6, correct?
Yeah, which is
episode 6,
second favorite episode.
Gigafire doozy episode, followed by episode 7, which is even better, perhaps.
Even beggar.
Anyway, episode 6, we get
it's awesome.
the most lightsaber fight, the most lightsabers in one fight since Geonosis. Okay, since 2002. Okay.
Yeah. And
not counting the Clone Wars, obviously, but
when I was listening back to the Ahsoka episode, I was raving about there's a scene in Ahsoka at the last episode of Ahsoka where Sabine, Ahsoka, and Ezra are standing in a line with their lightsabers going, and like, man, if you thought that was cool,
yeah,
imagine 12 Jedi going, but it's actually interesting, and it's like the fight choreography is awesome.
It's well lit.
Cortosis is Cortosising.
Mm-hmm.
Well lit. You
what does Cortosising mean? What does it do?
So Cortosis is this material. It's kind of like what's the Beskar. How Beskar can block lightsabers, but Cortosis, what it does, it essentially like shorts out lightsabers. So like if you hit Cortosis with your lightsaber, it like sends a power surge through it and turns your lightsaber off for a few seconds.
Powerful stuff.
So what Sith guy is doing is it's really cool because we haven't seen anything like this before. It's so much better than like, clones but are zombies, and Ezra has a gun and he's doing Force Kung Fu.
Force Kung Fu was sick. Don't even try to freaking deny that. That was awesome.
So, but Sith guy, he's fighting like normal, but he's using his Cortosis to like
he has
turn
an
their
arm
lightsabers
bracer,
off, get around. He's got, and he uses his helmet. He like headbutts a lightsaber at one point. It's awesome.
Yeah.
And yeah, it just makes the fight choreography really interesting, and it comes back in a really cool way later.
Yes.
After all of the red shirts get killed immediately.
Yes. Like Kit Fisto.
Yeah, all the red shirts get killed.
And those other guys by Palpatine, episode 3.
All those other guys.
Sazy Tin.
Yeah, continue.
I don't remember. Anyway.
What happened?
So the fight ensues, and May attempts to run away from her master over and over again, and fails over and over again, including also getting stunned by Osha. This time she doesn't miss. She does actually stun her, but then she just gets up and runs away again. Kind of a funny one there. The fight continues to continue, and what's his name? The Sith reveals his helmet gets knocked off at one point.
Oh, yeah. He's fighting Jackie, I think.
I believe, yes. He reveals his face to be exactly who we all thought he was.
Yeah,
the
Chimera,
potion dealer, potion Chimer guy. Yep.
But it's like, so yeah, when he kills all the red shirts, and you're like, okay, this is what I expected to happen. So now we just have our main cast is back in action. You got Sol, Jackie, Yord, May, Osha.
All the
Sith
big players
guy.
are here.
These are the main characters.
Here.
We're like, we expected this to happen. They're fighting. This is normal, right?
Yeah.
Jackie, so May's trying to get away. Sith guy's after her. Jackie swoops in and saves May and fights Sith guy for a while.
Very well for a
really
Padawan.
Cool. She gets she hits his helmet off of him, and
with the back of her,
she goes in for a strike, and he kills her. He goes 1, 2, 3 in a perfect triangle.
Splits his lightsaber into 2 lightsabers, and then
his
he
face is revealed.
Chest stabs her.
Yes, and I was like, whoa. I did not expect that to happen.
Yeah, poor Daphne
what?
Keene. You should have expected it after they killed Endara at the literal beginning of episode 1.
Yeah. I didn't, because she's like a child, and they just straight up killed her, which is like, okay, so then that happens. We see his face. Then he and Soul fight for a bit, and then Yord and Osha are going back to the ship.
Ran away.
And then Osha's like, I have a feeling, and you remember the bugs? I'm going to use my light to take the bugs. I'm like a freaking
Enchanted Forest Disney movie.
Yeah. It's like in the middle of like absolute carnage and murder, child murder, and then they're like, but bugs, maybe?
And the bugs will come.
So then they come back, and Yord he finds the helmet on the ground, and he uses the helmet to block his lights, the Sith guy's lightsaber. But then the Sith guy snaps his neck. He's dead. Yord is dead. That's a bummer.
Yep.
And then, so then at that point is when Soul and Sith guy Chimere have a little conversation. And there's a line that is awesome where he goes like, where Soul's like, you killed her. She was a child. And Chimere's like, you brought her? Like, yeah. I'm like, the Jedi, dude. The Jedi freaking suck. It's That's so right. good. And then Osha shows up with the bugs, and then bugs happen.
Yeah, they literally carry him off into the sunset like a Disney villain. Yeah. Don't show him die. Yeah. I legit when I was watching this episode, I started laughing because I was like, and he's dead and not returning. Like there's
like he actually died.
This is a completely reasonable Disney death for a villain, and he's not coming back. Yes. But of course he will.
At this point, he has no real like connection to the story other than being May's evil master.
Of course.
So yeah, they have a conversation. He goes, "Hey Osha, he hasn't told you everything. Do you even know what he did and whatever?" And but then the bugs happen, and then so May and Osha have a little confrontation. Soul's knocked out at the moment, and May is like, at this point, because earlier in the episode she's like, or the last episode she's like, I'm gonna go with my sister and be good now, but then at the end of this episode she's like, actually, I guess I'm not. So I'm gonna cut my hair and take your place. So they do a little twin switcheroo, which is a pretty cool idea.
Yeah. Except one of them has a face tattoo.
Yes.
Which is somehow magically.
How do they address that?
Not sure. She even cuts her hair that would hide the forehead tattoo.
I hadn't even thought of that, but yeah.
It's fine.
And then the most recent episode.
Yes.
Which
our second entirely flashback episode.
I guess is there an episode in between?
No.
Because there is, because then the lady with the lightsaber whip, they have their episode.
Oh yeah.
And Soul's on the ship with now May, and he figures out that she's May because the otter guy's there, and he's sniffing around, and he's like, "Hey, this girl's not real."
Right. There's a whole episode in there. How did we counted too many episodes?
Because because episode 5 and episode 7 are really good, and that one is not as good. But that episode ends with Soul being like, May, you're strapped to this table. I'm going to tell you the truth about what happened that day long ago in episode 3. So this week's episode, right? We get the flashback within a flashback. Not really. It's just the extended cut of the flashback episode.
Right.
Where we see the Jedi, they show up, and they're doing like... I really liked this part because it's just 4 Jedi. They're just on a planet. They're just like, they're walking around with metal detectors. They're taking soil samples. They're just doing science experiments. I'm like, this is fun. I wish I had more of this.
90% of Jedi probably actually do.
Yeah.
Normal, boring Jedi work.
Just like and because Torben's there, and he's like, "This job freaking sucks. I want to go back to Coruscant, guys.
I want to go live in my giant lavish temple."
Yeah. You keep going. I took over. You take us through that the rest of the episode.
Okay, so in the flashback Redux Minority Report Total Recall,
whoa,
Part 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Mm-hmm.
We are given the extended cut. What Peter Jackson version? I don't know. The final cut. Yeah. And we get a lot more details. It's sort of a Last Jedi moment where we have the flashback, but it's different. Multiple times. So we get a lot of the same stuff, but from like different camera angles. So it's like, like I remember that. But it was shot differently, and now we can see, all this sort of stuff. So we have Sol, Kalnaka, Indara, and Torben on a nameless planet that was once lifeless due to the great hyperspace disaster, which is something that happened in the comics I know nothing about. Regardless, this planet was rendered lifeless. But now, as they stand on it, teeming with life. So their general,
it's beautiful. It's gorgeous.
Their general assumption is that a vergence in the Force has created life on this planet once again. And so they believe there's no intelligent life on this planet yet, as it's seemingly brand new, ecologically speaking. So they go trying to find the vergence in the Force. And they kind of all split up at one point. I don't remember if there's an inciting incident that makes them split up, but they split up, and Sol goes into the Northlands forest. Yeah. And he finds the twins, May and Osha, as kids, having their first little cute conversation at the tree, where May force freezes a butterfly. Yeah. And Sol sees this, knows exactly what's good. These children have the Force. We need to do something about it. I'm a holy, righteous Jedi, and I will save these children from their horrible, obviously horrible lives as they sit in this beautiful, peaceful forest and play with butterflies. So he follows these children, hiding behind trees, as good, well-meaning men do. And eventually he finds their mother, the Zabrak witch, shows up and is like, "How many times have I told you not to run around in a forest? You gotta come hide in the shelter again.
Stay in your rooms."
And so she takes them back, and now he sees they're captors. They're obviously hostages in this horrible situation.
Yes.
And so he continues to follow. He makes it all the way to this giant mountain, huge, obviously man-made structure that they somehow missed. Even if they look at the mountain, they see floating in the middle of the two peaks is a weird little hut cone triangle thing. There's no way from any flyby survey that they miss this giant thing. Anyway, I digress.
Also, don't they have life sign scanners? Mm-hmm. Shouldn't they be able to? I don't know.
Luke's they're protected by the thread. Can detect life on Dagobah. Their giant ship can do that. They're metal detectors, whatever.
In the High Republic.
Yeah. Yes. So he follows them to the Coven hut. And it's not even a hut; it's a compound. And he knocks on the door. No one answers. So, like a true Jedi rogue, he climbs
gets on up there.
He just climbs the brick wall and sees them. Climbing, he sees them practicing their witch's evil ascension ritual.
Yeah.
And goes back.
Like this.
The thread.
Pretty spooky.
Yeah, it was. Maybe, perhaps. So they go back. Sol goes back to the Jedi, and he's like, "Look, I saw this, I saw this, I saw that." And Indara, like a good Jedi master, says, "Let's wait for instructions." And he's like, "No." And as they
There's not time for that.
As they explain it, they come to the assumption that Osha and May are... No. They go and talk to them first. And that's when they learn that May and Osha were created using the Vergence, one human split into two in the womb by the thread of the Force, after being created deliberately by the Force. And this is, if you would like to assist me potentially in explaining, this is the divergence, if you will, in the Vergence that separates these two from Anakin, retaining his holy specialty that makes him the Grand. So they,
if you're concerned about that, which we are, not.
So they were deliberately created versus Anakin, who, as far as we know, was divinely created by the Force,
which
is in contention.
In your precious Legends canon, you Star Wars derogatory.
Nice. Great.
In canon, in your precious canon, there's a comic where Emperor Palpatine is the guy who creates Anakin in Shmi's womb. That happens in your canon. So, calm down.
Preach.
Everybody, and I know these things because you talk about it all the time. But then when you choose,
but then when it's Mara
intelligence.
Jade, then it's a shame that the Legends canon is gone.
Yeah,
amazing. So anyway,
it's great.
They go back. They're like, we have the right to test them. Who says? I don't know.
Because he feels a connection with this girl.
He loves Osha. And so
has not even
they
met
go
her.
back.
Just
they
saw her from behind a tree.
Right. But I mean, the connection is for realsies.
This episode is not. It's not kind to old Master Soul. You're not really a huge fan.
Oh yeah, no, it's kind
of this guy by the end.
Yeah, it's kind of sad,
especially right at the end.
Oh. We'll tell them.
Yeah, go ahead.
So they come to an agreement that May and Osha will be allowed to take the Force test, the same test that Anakin would later take in Episode 1, The Phantom Menace.
It's a ship.
It's a ship.
A cup.
A speeder.
This kid sucks.
And so he's too old.
He's too old.
And so they agree to
How
test
young are
them.
they supposed to be? Everyone's always too old.
Yeah, all the Padawans we meet, except
Ahsoka
for
was
Ahsoka.
too old. Yeah, well,
she was
too old too. Didn't
Plo Koon found her as a baby.
I didn't watch that show. I forget that.
Pretty sure that was in Clone Wars.
Carry on.
Or Tales of the Jedi, I guess is what you're referencing.
Yeah, I didn't watch Tales of the Jedi.
Great show. Did you see Tales of the Empire is out now as well?
I will not watch that.
Brutal. Okay.
One of the main characters is Morgan Elsbeth, so no thank you.
You're over that?
I'm
Dude,
not
Tales of the Jedi
Morgan.
shows the moment that Count Dooku changes from light side to the dark side. It's freaking sick, actually.
Yeah, I know. I watched some of that.
Anyway,
good.
So they decide to test them as Indara believes, as a trick to get an answer from the Jedi Council. They get a little bit of extra time to see what's good. Sol genuinely wants to test them so he can take them home with him because he loves Osha so much. And Torben was tormented by the mother Anastasia. I remembered her name earlier while we were talking.
There you go, Anastasia.
And she got into his head and made him sad about not being at Coruscant even more than he already was.
Yeah, she goes, I can give you what you want.
Yeah. And so
he's
like, dude, I want to go back to Coruscant. These girls are proof that there's a Vergence. We can take them home with us, and then I cannot leave again because I like Coruscant so much. And so he just speeders off to...
He does that after... He takes a blood sample from both of them, and he reads their M count. They're going to refuse to say the word midichlorian.
Right.
But he has their M count, and he goes, they're off the freaking charts. Just like that other kid, Anakin.
Right. Boom.
He's like, this is proof. I'm out. Let's go.
Yeah.
Get him.
He speeds back to the Coven, and Sol chases after him soon to be followed by Kalnaka and Endara, I believe, by ship.
Endara sends him out to stop. Endara sends Sol out to stop Torben. But when Sol catches up to Torben, he's like,
let's go.
We gotta climb up the wall. Let's go. Let's go, dude.
Pretty foolish of Endara, if you ask me.
Yeah. I don't know why she did that.
They breach the coven to find a fire has already started.
Yes.
But we learn in this flashback redux that May set the fire on accident.
Yeah.
But then later when she meets up with Osha, she's like, yeah, I did that. What's good? So it plays a little weird.
I don't know what they're doing with that yet, because in episode 3, she has you see her eyes go black like Torben's eyes did when Anastasia got into his mind. Mm-hmm. Her eyes go black, and that's when she starts the fire. But in the episode 7 Redux Minority Report version, her eyes don't do that, and she does it kind of on accident.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's going to be a third scenario flashback.
Well, we have
a
third episode of flashback.
Yeah, I don't know if there's
no
going to be
finale.
an extra, this is what actually happened.
That'd be wild.
Because this episode, Sol is telling the story to May. Mm-hmm. So this is all from Sol's perspective, presumably. Right. So there's room for, an added aspect.
Right,
but yes. She does it on accident, and that stuff happens.
So Sol and Torben breach the Coven Temple doors, and all of the other witches, aside from the mother Anastasia, gang up on Torben and Sol in an attempt to stop them from stealing their future leaders, May and Osha. At one point, all fully dissolving into black, misty dust.
Yeah.
But before that occurs, Mother Anastasia comes out, and she's like, what the freaking heck is going on, you guys? And she does something. What does she do? She fades into darkness to save somebody?
She's turning into, mist, turning into, a figure of a bird, mist.
Yeah.
Like a mist bird. And she seems to be absorbing May into this mist.
Because she runs out.
Like, frick. Because, so May runs out, and Sol goes, Osha! Yeah. He doesn't even know which one she is.
Yeah,
but
he's
anyway,
just so upset.
Anastasia starts absorbing her, and he stabs her miss with his lightsaber, and she dies. Mm-hmm. And Sabrek Mom is just like, well, we're all going to turn into mist now, so see ya.
Yeah, so they all mist up.
Oh,
and either they attempt to get in Sol's head or something, or they're just trying to kill them. Either way,
they get into the other guy, Kalnaka.
Oh, that's right. They get into Kalnaka, and he starts fighting the two Jedi. And
she
then
goes,
Sol,
you shouldn't have brought him. And Torben's like, no, my mind is fortified with the Force. And she goes, I'm not talking about you nasty. And then Kalnaka shows up and he's like, zero.
But evil. Kill him. And so his sword hits like a truck. He's like the Hound out here.
With evil intent.
Yeah, evil. That's the parentheses in the subtitles. Speaking Shri.
The subtitles are like, happy, sad.
And so they fight for a little while, the three Jedi, and then Sol force breaks Kalnaka free from the witch's mind control, and they all die.
Endara does that. Endara jumps in.
Oh yeah, you're right. Endara.
She takes the
I don't know
Force
anything.
out
You
of his
explain
head.
this episode.
Endara shows up and she's like, Kalnaka, freaking calm the freak down. Force energy pull out of your head. And then, all of the witches, because they've joined hands and they're using their collective power to control the Wookiee. They're vibing out. Mm-hmm. They're at a rave. They're singing a little bit. Lisa Nal Gaib. And then once Endara gets through, they all pass out. Mm-hmm. And, so at that point, Endara's like, Sol, shut up. Go get the girls. We're leaving. So Sol goes to find the girls, and they've gone into like the hyperspeed sector or like power source, like that's like they're in
it's in freaking Force Awakens.
Yeah, the Force Awakens where Han Solo dies. They're like in that place. They're standing on a bridge that's broken in the middle because they're twins and it's like they're separated and whatever.
Yeah.
So in
like Captain America and Red Skull.
The first perspective, yep. In episode 3, we see May and Osha. They're on the bridge. The bridge starts to fall. Soul shows up just in time to save Osha, but May is fallen. But in this episode, we see the truth that Soul shows up.
Event.
Both bridges start to fall. He holds both of them up. He can't hold them both forever.
He's tapping square so fast right now.
He's tapping square so fast, but he can't do anything but what the game wants him to, which is he has to choose one, and he doesn't care about May, so he murders May by sending her into the pit and saves Osha and takes her with them. And then when she wakes up, he tells her that May started this fire. She fell by accident. Will you be my Padawan, please? Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, that's what I wanted, actually. So you guys did not need to do any of this.
They all get out of there, and then they go to the ship. And Dara talks to Soul, and she's like, we tell them this happened this way. She kind of facilitates the cover up a little bit. And he's like, no, I need to be truthful about this. And she's like, no, we're covering this up for some reason.
Yeah.
And that is how that episode ends. We forgot about the whole the last episode. They go to the island and Chimere takes off all of his clothes and goes and swims, and he's like, "Sup, girl? How's it going? Girl, you gonna get in this pool?" If you're not going to
wash off all the weird black body paint he had on in the last episode.
Yeah. But yeah, the last episode ends with Soul being a real bad guy. I think. Has anything else happened after that? I can't remember.
Osha put on the Cortosis helmet.
Oh, yeah.
Which apparently is of some significance as a sort of a force diverting object to allow him, or no, a sensory deprivation helmet. I can say those words.
It's like Magneto's helmet.
Yeah. Only him and the Force inside the helmet.
Yeah.
So she puts on the helmet and starts breathing, and then the episode ends.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So we're leaving off with May doing something, captured? I don't remember.
She's still on Soul's ship, strapped to the table, I think.
Right. Yeah, okay. Osha
just finished
potentially turning into a bad guy. We'll see what happens there. Not sure what's going to go down. Chimere also there, gearing up for something. And Soul ready to take on the world, going to the secret unknown planet.
Trying to find the master. Mm-hmm. There's also the green lady with the purple lightsaber whip and her Padawan.
Yes.
There's so as you see, there were a lot of storylines that need to be wrapped up.
Yep.
In one more episode that's surely going to be about 36 minutes long. So
that's a good long length.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Like
okay, so here's my theory question for you.
Okay. Sure.
You have one episode left. You have been given one more episode. Yeah. How do you, Jordan, tie up all these loose ends?
Oh,
dear. How can you possibly get this done in one episode in your ideal world?
I think so. I don't know if this has been talked about much, but with Soul's storyline, I found it particularly compelling that perhaps, because at this point, if the last episode happens and there's nothing revealed about Chimere, if he's just a random Sith crazy guy, then I don't know why they made this show. I think the most compelling thing they can do is have him be Soul's son or something, because what I really liked about episode 7 was how Soul, he was talking about how he feels this connection to Ocean, his duty as this, like you said, righteous, like holy religious person to like take care of, save this child from their current like environment. And you know, the religious parallels are very clear. Like, this is how, not necessarily child abuse, but like this is how people make things okay in their own mind, because they're like, my spiritual, I feel this very specific way about this specific person, and I'm going to, it's my duty as a member of this particular faith to do this thing, even if it's not actually helpful to anyone except for me,
right?
And does the thing that I want to do, which is I want to have a Padawan. And Dara calls him out multiple times. She's like, don't mistake your feelings for hers. Like, just because you want a Padawan doesn't mean she actually, doesn't mean she actually wants that.
Great.
So like, I'm thinking you connect this, like, maybe Soul had a son and he like abandoned him and like didn't give him what he needed, and like he like got so lost in his religion and in the Jedi that he abandoned his son, and so his son is like, I'm going to be the antithesis to this thing, and I'm going to get a Padawan. I'm going to like hold my father accountable for all of his misdeeds. Go ahead.
I do believe. Hopefully, this doesn't mess up your theory because I like it. I do believe that Chimere was also once a Jedi at one point.
Okay. He does say that. Yeah.
So he had left the Order because they didn't like who he was, or something to that effect. Something. So that it could be that he was revealed. He could be. It was revealed to the Jedi that he was Soul's son, and Soul was like, just kick him out.
And they sense like this guy's gonna be a bad guy. Like we sense, like they did with Kylo Ren in the Last Jedi, where they're like, Luke sensed evil in him and whatever. And he tried to kill him, which is like, what? Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh, Luke, our perfect Jedi.
I think the main theory that's pretty clear is that the lady with the lightsaber whip was probably his master, because he has this weird, crazy scar on his back and like whip, you know. It looks like a whip scar. It's like,
kind of,
why would you have
I'd agree to that.
Because the way the lightsaber whip happens is like the most, it's so like, she's in the forest and a bug shows up, and she goes and whips it. It's the most like uninteresting, like not even relevant to anything. It's just like,
but they had to show us.
Isn't that cool? But they had to show it to pay it off, probably, because this other girl, the green lady, is relevant to the plot somehow.
Chekhov's purple light whip.
But I don't know how you wrap up like most of these episodes with May and Osha. Like, there's not enough content. There's not enough time to do anything interesting with these characters. I don't think, unless
I feel like we have to either they finish their ascendancy and disappear entirely into the Force or something, or like they just both leave and run away into the sunset, because they can't really be part of the Order, and they can't let them live alive as bad guys.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
I can see it ending with I can see it ending with Osha killing Soul without a weapon, like unarmed, completing the like Acolyte thing, because she's hanging out with Chimere.
It is the name of the show, and we still don't have
one. It is the
one.
show. It has to happen, I feel like. But I feel like the most compelling thing would have Osha, because this episode, I feel like they really make it clear that you're not really supposed to like Soul anymore. So I feel like they're gearing us up for his death, right?
Okay.
Because he might deserve to die. I don't know.
Whoa,
I'm not saying that I'm not saying he deserves to die, but like, I'm not saying anybody deserves death, right? But
you just don't like him because you didn't watch, what's it called? Squid Game.
Squid Game. I don't like Squid Game. I will never watch it.
So sad.
So I can see a compelling ending being like Osha isn't necessarily like gone to the dark side, but she ends up killing him and becoming the Acolyte somehow, because she's hanging out. Because she has the mask on.
He needs his second, right? His whole thing is like the following the rule of two, even though he says he's not a Sith, or that some people would call him one. I think maybe he's building, again, something that I've heard about Chimere and his deal is the helmet being, and like the black on his arms and stuff is like remnant of the Ren title.
Okay.
So there's this, the Knights of Ren and all of that stuff is something that's been passed down through generations. It's not, Kylo Ren is not the first one.
Yeah.
So potentially he could be the first Ren, and there are the Knights of Ren that surround him that are like sort of force sensitive but don't use lightsabers. So there could be something there as well with Osha and May. But I don't really know how that fits into our narrative.
It looks pretty similar to like the other Knights of Ren helmets, and like maybe they were Cortosis as well. That would be cool, but they never used that. But perhaps.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you think we're getting another season of this? I don't know if we are, but
I think regardless of how much it would be required, I don't think it's made enough money to go the distance. I think Andor only got a second season greenlit because everybody loved it so much and it was successful.
Yeah. Even if there weren't as many like on paper numbers of people that liked Andor as much as maybe people liked Obi-Wan Kenobi or The Mandalorian, the overwhelming response to Andor was like, no, this is really good.
Yeah. We need more of this.
Like, people were talking about it. I don't think nobody's talking about the Acolyte except people that really hate it.
Yeah,
so, like,
and that's why people who haven't already started watching it to form opinions of their own will just assume it's bad.
Yeah.
Which is a shame.
And again, like, we're not saying it's even very good.
It's true.
We're just saying, like, I think it's better than Ahsoka so far. Again, I haven't seen the last episode. I think it's better than Kenobi.
Probably regardless.
Like, it's shot like much better, I feel like, than there are a lot of like shots of the planets that they're on that are very pretty, and I think the choreography and lightsaber stuff is a lot better than most of the other shows.
It's our first good lightsaber fight in who knows how long.
Who knows how long? Rise of Skywalker, in my opinion.
You like the one on the Death Star thing?
I like the Death Star one, yeah. And the one where they're fighting through their forced Skype call. It's dope. That was he's on the ground and she's in the ship and they're fighting. It's so cool.
Haven't seen that movie.
I don't know.
In a while.
I think you watched it just recently, didn't you?
Oh yeah.
Didn't you just watch it?
I did.
And you were like, eh.
Yeah,
and you didn't listen to any of my my hype about it.
Did I actually?
That's also one of our
best
episodes.
I don't even remember. I don't even remember reviewing it. I must have done.
I think you gave it like 1 star or something. That's another one of my favorite episodes, is when I am like, Rise of Skywalker is actually kind of good. And you're like, what?
Oh yeah. It's because I didn't review it like all the other ones where I actually gave it a bunch of description and stuff.
You had your first time viewer perspective.
Yeah.
But not for that.
That was great.
Sadly.
I'm gonna do that. We're getting geared up for a Harry Potter. We're gonna start that soon, so I'm gonna do similar kind of, maybe not first time, most recent time, but just sort of a general official feelings of each movie. Yeah, because I reviewed them all last year, I think, or the summer before.
Yeah,
but it was right at the beginning of my Letterboxd career, and I think I'm a better writer now, so we'll give it a more realistic shot.
Yeah,
at it this time.
I've been seeing lots of movies, man. But you gotta go.
What have you? No, I'm good. Probably I should leave, but take us out of here. Get us out of here.
Okay, thanks for being here. Thanks for listening. Thanks for everything you do. I'm like praying to God.
Bing, 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 bing,
Bye.